Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of TerraVentures. We're back here in the main base in the skyscraper city, and today we're going to be doing quite a little bit in this base. We're going to be making ourselves a wool farm to get rid of all these sheep or move all these sheep into a wool farm. So I did actually find a design on YouTube which I built in another world, so I'll quickly switch over to that now and show you how it works. And here we are in the world. This actually got a slightly different texture pack on here, I think, but it's still the same world. It's all still the same game and whatnot. So anyway, we've got ourselves the sheep in here, and the she I suppose will sit on this piece of, or stand on this piece of grass. It'll eat the grass and therefore activate this observer, which then fires into this redstone here, which fires the dispenser, which then shears the sheep, and the wool will go all into here. Now, it's not exactly the fastest farm in the world, but it is automatic as far as making sure that these dispensers are actually fully up to date. So I don't know how long this will actually take to run out of dispensers, but that is something we'll have to consider. Now, the other thing I need to consider is how close do I put these things together. Can I put it like this, like here, or do I need to put a slightly different method? So I continue to put this here, or can I do it like that? And like that. So that would take a lot less room, and I would be able to put more materials together. I'd be able to squish a little bit more in together. The other thing I need to really consider as well is how is this going to look on the outside? How is this going to be designed on the outside? So if I get some, say, dark oak wood and do something like this from the front face, that is going to look a little bit better, I reckon. It's just going to give a little bit more of a clean front face, which is what I do want for these kind of things. So what I'll do is figure out how or where I'm going to put these things, and the design for the structure, or at least for the functional part of this farm in the realm. As we're doing this, I think it's important to note that we have 16, I think it is different colors. We've got 12 there, 13, 14, 15, 16 different colors of sheep, but each one is only going to produce maybe 3 or 4 every 5 or so minutes, which isn't very many. So we also have to consider that. So we do have a 4 thick here, so we need to make sure 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is the minimum point at which we can have, and that means we can't have a very thick wall there. So maybe we need to put our front face starting there. So if I was to go like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 would be a lot there. So maybe, and then I want a bit of a gap here. So maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, and we do the same on this side, and that would give us 16 there. But that's going to be a pretty short building if we're honest. So that's probably not the best solution here. The other idea I really have is to have maybe 2 or 3 of each type. Maybe if I go 4 here of the same kind of sheep, and then I go so that would be 1, 2, 3, 4. So that would be a 4-story building at minimum, and 4 times each color. 4 times 16 is 40. It is 56, I think. So that would be 56 sheep, which is a lot. And considering I already have probably nearly 30, 40, 50 mobs in this entire area already, it's going to be lag city if I didn't have already a very good computer already. So what I think we should do next is build up this thing, make it functional, at least without the sheep anyway. Build up the thing, make it functional, and then work out how many layers, if any, we're going to have. If we're going to have just a 1 layer of sheep, just a 1 16 side of sheep, or we're going to have a lot more layers. So where's my chests? There we go. 57 is just 1 more than I would like to have, so let's put 56 there. And actually, wait, maybe barrels would be better, but I've only got 36 of those. This is a bit tricky. I think I need to get these things and some sticks, I believe. Sticks, and there we go. Barrels. 57. Perfect. Let's go and do this stuff. Righty-yo, so now I've built this thing up. We've got all the bits that we need except for the glass to cover up where the sheep are going to go, which I should probably put in a little bit of that anyway. Or should I wait? Should I just do it one by one? I think I'll do it one by one. So thankfully there's a sheep down here. Come along, Mr. Sheep. Come on. Yes, that's right. You need to come up this way. Follow the food. Follow the food. We'll send him all the way down here, hopefully. And then we'll try and get him into that far one, if we can. And there we go. So now we just need to quickly dump in the glass. No! Get back in there. Okay, fine. We got him in the glass. There we go. So now we just need to put in some shears in there, which I don't have any iron. Oh wait, I do have some iron. Yes, that's going to work perfectly if I if I had the inventory room. So let's make this up, and then we can get started on the rest of the sheep. Now I do have to watch out because I do need to figure out what colors I want here, but I can just color them later, I think. And that isn't grass, is it? He might have eaten it already, which is fine by me. But that should be working now. So all I have to do now is figure out how to get the other sheep in, and then figure out exactly how I'm going to do the rest of these layers. Because I do want at least 2 layers, so 1 layer here and another layer on top. That would give me 2 of each, and it's already collected. Yay! So that is nice and done, and hopefully when he eats, it'll start working perfectly again. So we've got wool producing already, which is really good to see. Anyway, as I was saying, we just need to figure out how to get all the sheep in. I seem to have lost a fair few, so I need to breed up quite a few more and make sure I've got this all ready to go. So I'm thinking at the moment, maybe if I have 2 of each color, that would work nicely, because then I don't have the need to what's my word saying? I need to figure out how I'm going to get the layers up here. I could go 1, 2, 3, and then this one would be a straight downward one, I think. That might work, I think. That it still needs to be worked out quite a bit more. But if I go like this, there, to cap it off, and then put some soul sand here, that should work out nicely, I reckon. And then I should have enough materials to build up at least 1 more layer. And if I do have 1 more layer, then I can work out the soul sand. But yes, the amount of sheep I have is really going to determine how many layers I have. So that's quite a bit more to work out. And let's eat before I starve to death. Rightio, I think I've got a solution for going up. So we've got 3 soul sand here, and that will be able to get us to any level we want. And of course, we've got our go down one here. However, this bit here is probably just a bit too thick. So I think I'll change it to trapdoors. I think would fit nicely. Just back-to-back trapdoors. I need 6 of them. And I'm really not very good at inventory management. There we go. So let's get the 6 in, and hopefully this works, because I'm not quite certain how it's going to look. So if we do that there, then we need to do that, and then the same here, there, and there we go. So there we go. These trapdoors are necessary because if I take them away, the water's going to start flowing out. And why isn't that going up? Because that one is, that one isn't. Maybe if I take it out and put it back in, it would work. Or maybe I should make this one a down as well. Maybe that would work better. Yes, I think I'll do that instead. I'll make this one a down. So you've got up on the left and down on the right. And that will take you straight up to the next level, or to any level you want, I think. that still needs to be decided, because I still need to figure out how many sheep I'm going to have, or how many levels I'm going to have. I might even have 2 different aisles, if that makes sense. So what should be next is building up the next level of this and getting the sheep into their spots. And actually, before I do that, I should probably change these to their 2 trapdoors as well, I reckon, just to be consistent. So yeah, let's get that done and then we'll move on. And after a little bit more construction, we've got ourselves the second layer ready to go. If we just need to get ourselves up there, which is actually a little bit harder than it looks. Actually, let's use the water elevators that I've put in, and there we go. So as you can see, it's all ready to go, although I shouldn't have put the things here, which is a little bit of a stupid mistake from me. But never mind that, it can be easily removed. Now, as you can see, I've also put in all the sheep from the area, and then they've been very happily chomping away. But I also need to get them into their pens up here, ready to, or down there, ready to, so I can get these holding cells up here ready for the next level of sheep. And it is going to take a little bit of time, so let's slowly breed these sheep up and slowly get them into their pens. I've also decided to get rid of the the shears in here, because they would be constantly firing, and then I would have to replenish them pretty quickly. So I think I'll just leave it unactivated until I really need them going. And there we go. So we're just trying to get one at a time. Come on, little sheep. We're just going to try to get one at a time and force them into their pens. There we go. And get back up here. While leaving enough sheep in there to be able to breed, so we can continue our program of wool collection. Okay, a bit of time has passed, and I've decided to color all these sheep first, and then put in the shears, so the farm will be fully functional. We'll be pumping out these it'll be pumping out the wool, and that should start working. And then I'm going to start work on the outside, because I do want to make this into a kind of skyscraper, similar to just build up the rest of this thing. So firstly, let's get ourselves the iron and the shears, dump off what we don't need, and I think I'm going to need a little bit more than just 12, because that's just going to make me another 6 shears. So yes, let's go get some iron, put the shears in, and then start work on the outside of this building. And as you can see, I've been experimenting a little bit with the outside design of this. I'm not entirely happy with the dark prismarine. I think it just gives it's just a little bit too different compared to the rest of the build. So that is not quite what I'm looking for. However, I am pretty happy with the gold texture of the honeycomb block, which is actually one of the nice new blocks, I think, that has been added to the game recently. So that's pretty good. Although I don't have tons of it, so I'm going to have to go really harvesting a lot with these honeycomb things over here. I really should set up an automatic farm for them, but at the moment it's just a little bit more trickier than I would have thought. So that's going to have to be in the works in the future. Is that one? Yeah, that one is turned the wrong way around, I think, or it's not facing the same way. But anyway, that's not really important. What is important is this build here, which has some things on the top. Yes, so we need to figure out how we're going to do this, how we're going to make it look good, as well as make sure we don't have to use too many honeycomb blocks. The real tricky bit will be the side, where I think I need to figure out something in between here. Maybe if I use a dark prismarine there and a green stripe or something going up, that would change it up a little bit. So that's something to be experimented on. I don't want to use too many of the same textures as this building here, so that's also the tricky thing. But having something like that, I think just a slightly plainer thing should work well, and the 4 here will work quite nicely, I think. So let's build this front face at least a little bit higher and see what we can come up with for the sides. Okay, so I've built this place up just a little bit more, and I've decided not to have a little space here, and that will become obvious in our next bit here. So I've mapped out the area in which this has to go. So we've got the 2 panels here, a little up thing going here and these things going here. I haven't yet worked out how I'm going to do these middle sections in the middle of these two panels. Let's just dump that in. And there we go. So I haven't yet worked out what I'm going to do here. I don't particularly want the honeycomb block, but what I do want is a little bit tricky to work out. Now you may also note that on the front panel, I've gone with the andesite, the granite and the prismarine wall. And I think it just breaks it up a little. So we've got the green on the right, the red on the left, and it works pretty well. It just breaks up the color difference, gives a little bit to this side, a little bit to this side. So that is something that works quite well, I think. Now for these center columns, I'm thinking of doing something quite similar to what we've got in these buildings over here, with having a concrete powder or some concrete behind it, as well as some glass going all the way up to the top. Now of course the tricky bit is figuring out which one to do. I don't particularly want red or green, or cyan actually, because those two colors are already quite dominant. The trick is I can't really do yellow or orange because those two colors are also already quite strong there. Purple might be a good idea actually. Let's have a look. We've got purple there, or purple glass anyway, and then grey or light grey. Let's go grey and have a look. See if that's going to completely destroy the color scheme. Obviously we can't do that, but these two colors also might not work well together. We'll have to see. So let's quickly hop back over there and see how it looks. So let's not misplace the block and not trap ourselves in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the grey works, I think. The light grey works anyway. It doesn't look quite good, I think, with the purple. If we tried a different color, maybe it would work. So let's get rid of the purple and try a different color, but this is a good start here. In the end, I've decided to go with the good old grey and light blue. It just seems to, or light grey and light blue, it seems to work quite well over here and on the other building, so I think I'll continue the theme over here. Thankfully, it is a little bit hidden, so it isn't going to pop up as much, but I think it really does work quite nicely. So what I really should do is actually remove the concrete powder and dump it aside, because what I'm planning to do with this bit is to use concrete powder and then harden it before I put in the rest. So that is use and harden dark concrete, the dark grey concrete, and then from there go on to do the rest. So let's get rid of these things here and continue on from there. Now, as I think I'm really short of resources, at least as far as the honeycomb block is concerned, which we will fix in a future episode, I think I will start on making this the height I want it to be. So let's get up here and determine this. So we need to make sure we put in the concrete, the hardened concrete at every 5th block, I think. That's right. So if so we'll be going 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the 5th one we stick out the side block to make sure that we've got the right height. So we've got the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 there, and from there let's go. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ow, that's not going to work. Okay, we need to be a little bit more careful about this. But yes, this shouldn't take too long, and hopefully I can make this an even number of blocks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and there. Now the real question, of course, is will this building look better if it's shorter or taller than the rest? To be honest, the way how wide it is, I think it would be actually around the same height as this one here. So let's get this up and see if we can cut it off at a good height. And this shouldn't take too long to get up. But yes, if we cut it around this height and then work something out with the top, that should work perfectly. So I'm not quite sure how tall this building is, but I think it's 112. So in theory, we should actually cut off this top story, which I've just built. So get rid of that, cut down that, and we're good. So now that shouldn't be too hard to figure out the rest. Let's continue on from there. Unfortunately, that's not all I've got time for today. So there is quite a bit more to do on this build, and I am of course hampered by the lack of blocks I have. So in the next episode we'll be working to fix that. We'll be working on our honey farm finally, and hopefully that should finally give us enough stuff to finish off these things, slowly but surely of course. And then we'll be working on other things, of course. I haven't quite got that far, but we shall be making plans and continuing to make this a really fun series and a good building series to watch if you're looking to do a skyscraper city just like me. So, as always, don't forget to like and subscribe, and don't forget to keep watching out for the next one. Goodbye.